The story opens in a store where two employees are quietly restocking the shelves. One of them, a young guy, suddenly breaks the silence by complaining about his lack of a girlfriend. Turning to his coworker, Sa-chan, he wonders aloud why he's still single. The girl, clearly unimpressed, points out that whining about his love life during work hours might be the reason. Unbothered by her sarcasm, he keeps going, bragging about his looks, his hardworking nature, and even his cooking skills. He insists that all he wants is a cute girlfriend to take on a simple date to the aquarium. Sa-chan shoots back without holding back, reminding him that he can't even afford aquarium tickets, and that someone without money shouldn't be hoping for a girlfriend in the first place. She tells him to stop wasting time and get back to work. Her bluntness hits him hard. His voice trembles a little as he asks her to be kinder, saying her words are way too harsh. He adds that he once thought she liked him, but now it doesn't seem that way. For a moment, Sa-chan looks serious. She tells him that she does like him. He freezes in shock but quickly masks his surprise with a playful tone. He says he likes her too, brushing it off by calling it natural since they've been childhood friends and have always stuck together. But Sa-chan doesn't respond. She stays silent, and something about that silence makes things feel heavier. The boy walks away to handle another shelf, but in reality he's overwhelmed. Sa-chan's sudden confession caught him off guard. He hadn't expected it, and he's too embarrassed to face her properly. He played along without thinking, unsure of what she truly meant. Even in his confusion, he finds her honesty and unpredictability endearing. It's her strangeness that draws him in. Later that day, the boy casually brings up a bit of gossip, telling Sa-chan that Seto and Tanaka from Class 3 have started dating. She gives a small nod and remarks how it seems like everyone's getting into relationships these days. Sensing a chance, he leans in and asks if there's someone she likes. To his surprise, Sa-chan says yes. The moment hangs in the air as his mind races. He tries to stay calm, but internally he's spiraling, wondering who this mystery guy could be. He doesn't realize the person she is talking about is standing right in front of her. But Sa-chan doesn't believe she has any real chance. Quietly, she tells herself she's not as cute as other girls. She thinks she's boring to talk to and figures there's no way he would ever like someone like her. Her words strike a nerve. The boy reacts immediately, denying everything she said. He tells her that it's absolutely not true, that she's incredibly cute, and in his eyes, no one in the world is prettier. He calls her sweet and intelligent, and without meaning to, blurts out that she'll always be his princess. That last line makes Sa-chan pause. She looks at him and asks what exactly he meant by that. Trying to play it off, he tells her simply that she should believe in herself more. His tone softens and the sincerity in his voice is hard to miss. Sa-chan beams at him, her smile bright and genuine. His words reach her heart. In that moment, she silently calls him her prince and feels grateful to have someone like him always by her side. The boy, suddenly flustered by her reaction, admits under his breath that he really does think she's cute. Sa-chan doesn't overreact. She just accepts it with quiet happiness, letting his words sink in. A little later, the boy grows curious again and asks if she can share more about the person she likes. Sa-chan smiles and starts listing traits. She says he's not exactly rich, tends to get carried away easily, and can be dense most of the time. She adds that he's popular with other girls too, which sometimes makes her uneasy. But despite all that, she says he's incredibly kind. Just yesterday, he helped an elderly woman without anyone asking. As she talks, our boy listens closely, picturing this guy as charming and reliable, a rival he must outshine. With renewed determination, he vows to work harder, unaware he's the very person she's been describing all along. After school, the boy reminds Sa-chan to be careful on her way home. While he speaks, his friend with spiky hair stands nearby and overhears him. He raises an eyebrow and questions why he still calls Chikamori Sa-chan, saying it feels too childish now that they're in high school. At work, the lad brings it up with Sa-chan during their shift. He asks if it really sounds strange to still call her that. She doesn't seem bothered and replies that it's fine. She points out that she also calls him Su-chan, and for them, it's just normal. Su-chan nods, but deep down, he's still unsure. He mentions that most high schoolers address each other more formally, using kun or san. She pauses to think, then suddenly tries calling him Tsukasa-kun. The moment she says it, his face turns bright red, and he quickly waves it off, saying the name sounds way too embarrassing. Trying to return the gesture, Su-chan calls her Sayaka-san. But unlike him, she stays completely calm, showing no reaction. This makes Tsukasa wonder how she always stays so composed. Nothing ever seems to shake her, but right then, she hides her face behind her apron and tells him not to look, saying she actually feels shy and doesn't want him to see her like that. The boy's full name is Tumi Tsukasa, and Sa-chan is Chikomori Sayaka. The spiky-haired classmate is Nakahara Kiyomi. He's clearly fed up with their nickname habits and gets even more annoyed when they decide to start calling him Ki-chan, making him visibly uncomfortable. Later, Tsukasa takes a short break and ends up falling asleep. Sa-chan quietly walks over with a blanket, gently covering him. She knows he's been staying up late studying and softly tells him he's doing a great job. While he sleeps, Sa-chan sits nearby and watches him for a moment. Her thoughts drift back to the night before, when he was feeling discouraged about his studies. He had no motivation left, but she encouraged him, telling him she believed in him and knew he could do it. That small push gave him the energy to keep going. She knows Tsukasa well. Since childhood, she's seen how he never gives up no matter how hard things get. In the present, she quietly says that it's this part of him, the determination, that she likes most. Suddenly, Tsukasa murmurs something in his sleep. Sa-chan freezes, wondering if he's awake. She asks softly if he heard her, but Tsukasa doesn't respond. He just starts snoring again, pretending to still be asleep. A customer walks into the store and approaches Sa-chan, asking for eye drops. She kindly guides him to the right section. From a short distance, Tsukasa quietly watches her, admiring how calmly and confidently she handles her work. Sa-chan asks the customer about his symptoms, and he mentions that his eye won't stop blinking. She shows him a few options, then says she'll call the pharmacist for better advice. Just as she's about to leave, the customer suddenly grabs her wrist and stops her. He asks for her line ID and says he's been admiring her for a long time. He mentions owning a car and suggests they go out after her shift. Before he can say more, Tsukasa steps in. He calmly asks the man to let go of her hand. The customer looks irritated, but Tsukasa keeps a professional tone. He asks if the customer is facing any issues with the staff and redirects the conversation back to products. Staying composed, he walks the customer to the shelf, asks if he has a discount card, and even offers to help him make one. The situation is handled smoothly, and the customer eventually leaves. Once he's gone, Tsukasa turns to Sa-chan and tells her she handled things well, but Sa-chan still seems shaken. Without warning, she back-hugs him tightly and thanks him for stepping in. She says the man's grip was so strong that she can still feel it on her hand. Tsukasa gently takes her hands and assures her that everything will be okay. He promises that he'll always protect her. They stay like that for a while. She rests quietly against him, feeling safe. She thanks him again for being her shield. Tsukasa sees a notice about the aquarium starting dolphin shows and immediately thinks of Sa-chan, knowing how much she loves dolphins. He remembers what she said before, that he couldn't even afford the tickets. But now he's saved up enough money. All that's left is to invite her. When he finally does, Sa-chan happily agrees. She looks excited and starts thinking about how they should get there, whether by bus or train. As they talk, Nakahara suddenly appears and asks where they're headed. Tsukasa invites him to join them at the aquarium. He nods but admits it feels awkward tagging along like a third wheel on what seems like a date, instantly silencing and embarrassing both Tsukasa and Sa-chan. Trying to explain, Tsukasa says they've been childhood friends for so long that they never thought of it as a date. But now he realizes that others might misunderstand it that way. Kiyomi looks confused, wondering if he said something wrong. Tsukasa starts to worry, thinking maybe Sa-chan will feel uncomfortable now or might not want to go anymore. But instead she looks at him and asks if they should just call it a date. Tsukasa is stunned. Caught off guard, he whines, his face turning red. But after calming himself, he agrees. The two stand there, quiet and flustered. Meanwhile, Nakahara awkwardly looks away, clearly feeling out of place between them. At the aquarium, while looking at the fish, Tsukasa turns to Sa-chan and says he's really happy to be there with her. In response, she gently takes his hand and tells him that she loves him. Suddenly, Tsukasa jolts awake, realizing it was all just a dream. He had fallen asleep while planning everything for their trip, wanting the day to go perfectly. He already had the schedule in mind. Arrive at 10, have lunch, then watch the dolphin show. Furthermore, he also remembered there was a dolphin-themed souvenir shop, which he was sure Sa-chan would love. But in the morning, things don't go as planned. He oversleeps again and wakes up in a panic at 10:15. Rushing to get ready, he barely has time to fix himself. By the time he heads out, he's already sweaty and frustrated, thinking he looks terrible on their first official date. Meanwhile, Sa-chan isn't having a perfect morning either. She also arrives late, out of breath, and just as sweaty. She quickly apologizes, saying she stayed up all night trying to choose the perfect outfit and ended up oversleeping too. Likewise, she feels embarrassed about showing up in a mess on a day she had been looking forward to. Shikasa tells her not to worry, he's just as guilty and doesn't think he looks any better. But she shakes her head and says he still looks good compared to her. Shikasa disagrees, saying she looks even better in her dress, and just seeing her like this leaves him speechless. Sa-chan admits that when she first saw him today, she couldn't believe how handsome he looked. They both go quiet, then laugh together at how their morning complaints turn into compliments. As they head toward the dolphin show, they wait at the station for the train. Shikasa says he'll be upset if they miss the show, but Sa-chan reassures him with a smile that they won't. As they arrive at the dolphin show venue, Shikasa smiles and says they're lucky to have made it just in time. Looking around the crowded place, he notices that most of the seats are already taken, but a few front row spots are still open. He points them out, but Sa-chan quickly tells him that those are in the splash zone. Instead of backing off, Shikasa grins and says it might be more fun that way. They take their seats and put on the provided raincoats, ready for whatever comes next. The show begins, and just moments later, a big splash of water hits Shikasa directly. He jumps a little, surprised, and says the water came out of nowhere. Sa-chan laughs, holding her wet glasses, and tells him they're already soaked. He looks at her as she smiles playfully, and for a second, he finds himself staring, his heart beating faster without him even realizing it. Shikasa looks at Sa-chan and finds her even cuter than usual. The water drops on her face make her glow in a way that steals his focus completely. As they watch the dolphin show, her eyes sparkle with joy. She grabs his hand suddenly, pointing at a dolphin and asking if he saw how adorable it was. He smiles and nods, saying the dolphins are amazing. He can't take his eyes off them. Their hands brush, and Shikasa quickly pulls back and apologizes. But Sa-chan gently takes his hand again, this time holding it firmly. She reminds him that this is a date, and there's no need to act so shy. Her words catch him off guard, but instead of panicking, he smiles and lets himself enjoy the moment. They sit like that, side by side, with their hands still together. Sa-chan says she's really happy, and Shikasa can't help but feel the same. His heart beats faster, and he thinks to himself, so this is what going on a date feels like. It's better than he imagined. But soon he notices something different in her expression. She's gone quiet, looking down with a distant look in her eyes. Concerned, he asks if she's okay. Sa-chan nods and replies that she's fine, just that she woke up feeling a little off. Still, being with him helped ease that feeling. He's in love with her. What started as a casual outing now feels like something much more special. They keep holding hands as they watch the fish swim peacefully. Sa-chan quietly says the fish looks beautiful. Shikasa nods in agreement, completely lost in the calmness of the moment. Then something strange clicks in his mind. The scene feels familiar, almost like a dream he had. The thought that Sa-chan might confess her feelings suddenly flashes through Chikasa's mind, and his face turns bright red. With her hand still in his, the calmness of the scene surrounds him. Everything feels almost too perfect, like something out of a dream. A quiet fear creeps in, that if he lets go, he might wake up and all of this will disappear. Just then, two young kids run past them, laughing and holding hands. The moment breaks, and Sa-chan's hand slips from his. But Shikasa reacts right away, reaching out and holding her hand again, their fingers gently lacing together. As she watches the children, the sight brings back memories of when they were little, those simple days filled with laughter and small adventures. They used to hold hands the same way, walking around like they had all the time in the world. But things changed. They grew up, got busy with different interests, met new people, and slowly drifted apart. Sa-chan looks at him and admits that thinking about their childhood makes her feel a little lonely. But now, holding hands again after all this time, it brings her comfort she didn't know she needed. She says it makes her really happy, even if she can't find the right words for it. Shikasa listens quietly, then reassures her she's not the only one who feels that way. He says it's the same for him too. Then nervously, he starts to speak his feelings. His face heats up, and he tries to laugh it off, saying his hands are getting sweaty. He feels embarrassed, but he can't let go. The tension from earlier in the day quietly returns, except now, it's mixed with something warmer, something real. Sa-chan looks at him and says she's glad she had the courage to come with him. The air feels warm with unspoken feelings as both of them start to realize they've fallen for each other. Shikasa notices that Sa-chan's small, soft hands begin to tremble. Just then, a group of children runs by, breaking the moment and causing their hands to part. But Shikasa reaches out again and gently holds her hand. Overwhelmed, Sa-chan wraps her arms around him in a tight hug. They stay like that for a moment as she starts to feel embarrassed and quietly apologizes. But Shikasa holds her even closer, telling her it's all right. After the hug, both of them start feeling warm, and Shikasa becomes shy. Jokingly, he says, "Trick or treat," and tells Sa-chan to give him a treat or he'll bite her. But instead of replying, Sa-chan blushes, getting flustered at the thought of him actually biting her. As they walk through the shopping mall, Sa-chan spots a large dolphin plush and holds it in her arms. Shikasa notices it right away, and wanting to make her happy, he offers to buy it for her. But as soon as he checks the price tag, he freezes. The cost is far higher than expected. Sa-chan looks at the price too and quickly agrees it's too expensive. Shikasa mentions that he's been saving money for a while. Sa-chan gently reminds him that the savings are meant for his family and tells him not to spend it on something unnecessary. She adds that if she ever truly wants the plush, she can buy it herself, showing her independent side. He quietly admires her attitude. Even when refusing something, she does it with strength and kindness. Still, he hopes to give her a small gift, something simple, just to express how much he cares. While walking, he spots a set of dolphin-themed rings at a nearby stall. They're only $2, and one in particular catches his attention. Despite the cheap material, he likes how it looks and thinks it suits her perfectly. With quiet confidence, he shows it to her and asks if she'd like one. Sa-chan reminds him she already turned down the toy, but after a brief pause, she nods. Shikasa gently slips the ring on her finger, smiling as he says it looks beautiful on her. Sa-chan looks down at her hand, then asks with curiosity why he chose to put the ring on that particular finger. Her tone turns playful as she teases him, saying maybe he should save something for next time. The way she says it makes Shikasa pause. He wonders what she means by next time and what kind of moment she might be imagining ahead. When she mentions that she'd like to see the dolphins with him again someday, Shikasa is caught off guard. Her words leave an unexpected impact, and though he doesn't know how to respond right away, she reassures him with a smile, saying they'll definitely spend time together again. Feeling at ease now, he nods and says that sounds good to him. As they say goodbye, Shikasa asks her once again if they can talk a little longer. They've already said this 3 times before heading home. The next day, Sa-chan helps an elderly lady carry her box, which includes several heavy bags. As she walks along, she bumps into Shikasa. Noticing the weight she's struggling with, he immediately offers to help. Sa-chan thanks him, watching in surprise as he lifts the bags with ease. She compliments him, saying he handled that weight like it was nothing. Shikasa shrugs it off, saying it's only natural since he's a guy and has more strength. But Sa-chan insists, it's still impressive. Shikasa doesn't understand why she keeps praising him so much today, and he starts to feel awkward about it. He adds that he's been working out lately, which might explain the boost in strength. That just gives Sa-chan another reason to praise him, and Shikasa grows even more unsure of how to react. Feeling a bit flustered and wanting to prove himself further, he says he could probably carry her too. Sa-chan laughs and tells him not to joke around. She might look small, but she's not that light. Before she can say more, Shikasa wraps his arms around her waist and lifts her effortlessly. Sa-chan lets out a small sound of surprise, then laughs, telling him how fun it is to see the world from above, and what it feels like to be taller than him for once. Her excitement shows as she enjoys the moment. But in the middle of all this, Shikasa suddenly realizes where his hands have been the whole time, resting around her waist. That thought flusters him, and he looks away, unsure what to say. Sa-chan notices it too, but chooses to stay quiet, knowing that pointing it out might just make things more awkward for him. He gently sets her down, and silence falls between them. Neither says a word, the moment still hanging in the air. Then the old lady struggles nearby, and Shikasa quickly steps away to help her again. As she watches him, Sa-chan quietly thinks to herself that maybe it's time to start dieting a little. At home, she starts exercising even though she doesn't know about the gym equipment or how to use it. During the sports period at school, a few boys gather near the vaulting area, including Shikasa. Their conversation turns to Sa-chan, who's warming up nearby in her tracksuit. One of them remarks how even in simple gym clothes, she looks adorable. The others agree, saying she's not only pretty but also someone they're lucky to have in their grade. A few even admit they're jealous of Shikasa for being her childhood friend. Another boy nudges him, half-jokingly asking if Shikasa has finally worked up the courage to ask her out. That question immediately throws Shikasa off, and he snaps back, telling them to shut up. Not far from their chatter, Sa-chan steps up to the gymnastic vaulting box. The boys cheer her on, but her first attempt falls short. She doesn't make it over. Shikasa calls out to her with encouragement, telling her she can do it. His words reach her, and something shifts in her expression. She takes off her jacket, gets into position again, and this time charges forward with more focus. With a strong leap, she clears the vault cleanly. The boys cheer, and Shikasa shouts the loudest, clearly proud. Sa-chan looks at them from the landing mat, flashes a peace sign, and grins. Next up is Shikasa. As he takes his turn, Sa-chan stands at the side watching him, while some nearby girls quietly admire how athletic he is. Before she can respond, a friend calls out, noticing she's frozen again. They give her a nudge, reminding her they're late for their next class. After school, rain suddenly begins to fall. Shikasa stands outside without an umbrella, watching the downpour. Just then, Sa-chan pulls out a large umbrella and shows it to him. He's relieved to see she won't get soaked, and though he considers just running home, she stops him and asks him to walk with her under the same umbrella. She insists it's big enough for both of them, so he hesitantly agrees and steps in beside her, though his heart won't stop racing. As they walk, Shikasa finds it hard to focus. She's standing so close, and the sound of rain around them only makes his thoughts louder. He adjusts the umbrella slightly, trying to cover her more, but she notices and gently tells him that he'll get wet if he keeps doing that. They both begin fussing over each other, each trying to keep the other dry. In the process, their hands accidentally touch while reaching for the umbrella handle. A quiet pause follows as they both pull their hands back quickly, awkwardly apologizing. Sa-chan, trying to stay composed, says they should just focus on not catching a cold. Shikasa watches her with quiet admiration. Her concern for him feels warm and genuine, and in that moment she seems almost angelic to him. But he quickly dismisses the thought, reminding himself not to overthink her kindness. Then, to his surprise, Sa-chan apologizes again, this time for not mentioning that she actually had another umbrella with her. She admits that she didn't want to bring it up because she wanted them to share one umbrella, but after seeing him worry about her getting sick, she feels guilty and offers him the spare. Embarrassed by her honesty, she holds it out for him, saying she doesn't want him to fall ill because of her. But Shikasa doesn't want to miss this rare moment of walking together so closely. So trying to sound casual, he refuses the second umbrella and says it's fine like this, he won't catch a cold. They continue walking side by side under the same umbrella, taking slow steps as if stretching out the moment just a little longer. The next day, while working at the pharmacy, the pharmacist steps out for a break, leaving Shikasa alone. As he tidies up, his eyes land on a white doctor's coat, one tailored in a larger size, probably for men. Out of curiosity, he tries it on. Looking at his reflection, he admires the fit and starts imagining himself as a character out of a medical drama. In that moment, he lets his thoughts wander, imagining boldly cornering Sa-chan, pressing her to the wall, and asking her to be his. But just then, Sa-chan walks in. Shikasa freezes, panic rushing in as he wonders if she overheard his pretend monologue. She stays calm, simply informing him that the boss is calling for him. Her composed response makes him believe she didn't catch any of what he said. He quickly replies that he'll go check in with the boss and walks off, relieved that his secret fantasy remains unknown. As Sa-chan turns to leave, she accidentally bumps into the wall. Shikasa, seeing it happen, rushes over, tripping on the way and unintentionally pinning her against the wall. Embarrassed, he quickly steps back and asks if she's all right. Sa-chan, unfazed as always, gently asks if he's okay and reassures him that it's fine since neither of them got hurt. She calmly says she has to get going now. Left standing there, Shikasa watches her leave, feeling a little deflated. He thinks to himself that she showed no reaction, no surprise, no fluster, nothing. To her, maybe they really are just childhood friends and nothing more. But instead of giving up, he makes up his mind. He wants to become the kind of man who can make Sa-chan react, who can reach her heart. Meanwhile, outside the clinic, Sa-chan struggles to keep her expression neutral. Her heart is racing, and she can't stop thinking about what she overheard, Shikasa's earlier fantasy of making her his. Trying not to lose her composure, she fidgets in place. The pharmacist notices and walks over, asking if everything is okay. Sa-chan nods quickly, but they grin knowingly and tell her she should hurry up and get married, promising they'll take care of the rings for them. Back inside, Tsukasa is still lost in thought. He starts imagining what Sa-chan would look like wearing that same white coat and smiles to himself. If she ever ran a clinic, he thinks, he'd probably visit every single day. Sa-chan sits quietly at work, enjoying a pudding, when Tsukasa walks in. He casually asks if she's on a snack break, but she quickly explains that it's actually part of her task. She's been asked by the manager to taste different puddings and give her thoughts on them. Tsukasa already knows how much she loves puddings, but he also understands that it's hard for her to describe their taste properly. She goes on to explain the differences, how some puddings are firm and filling while others are soft and melt in the mouth. While she talks, Tsukasa stands there silently, just listening with a soft smile on his face. Sa-chan eventually notices and asks if something's wrong, wondering why he's looking at her like that. He shakes his head and simply tells her she looks cute while eating pudding. Then he adds, without thinking too deeply, that watching someone you like enjoying something they love feels refreshing. She stays calm, reminding him it's just work, and he tells her good luck with it. But as soon as the words leave his mouth, Tsukasa realizes what he just said. He called her someone he likes. The weight of that line sinks in, and for a moment, he feels unsure. Sa-chan hears it too, but she keeps her expression steady. Since Tsukasa doesn't make a big deal of it and stays composed, she decides to do the same. Reacting now would only make things awkward, so both of them quietly let the moment pass, pretending nothing unusual was said, yet their hearts quietly hold on to it. The following morning, Tsukasa approaches Sa-chan and tries to start a normal conversation. He brings up streams casually, hoping to ease into their usual rhythm, but notices that she's acting distant. Her short replies and odd behavior make him wonder she's avoiding him for some reason. He notices something on her hair and gently tries to brush it off, but even then, she doesn't seem like herself. Feeling unsure, Tsukasa assumes it must just be a bad day and decides to leave her alone, apologizing before stepping away. But just as he's about to go, Sa-chan calls out to him and quietly apologizes. She explains that she always trims her bangs by herself, but this time the cut didn't turn out right. She's been feeling too embarrassed to face him and hopes he won't laugh. Tsukasa reassures her and promises not to make fun of her, but even with his words, she can't bring herself to lower her hands from her face. To help her feel more comfortable, he jokingly covers his own eyes and tells her he won't look until she feels okay, even if it takes a long time. It only makes her more concerned since she won't get to see his face either. Eventually, they both slowly uncover their faces, and when he sees her bangs, he quickly turns away, trying not to make it awkward. She tells him it's fine, and when he looks again, he's filled with excitement and blurts out how adorable she looks now. Just then, Kiyomi walks past them, clearly annoyed by their public moment, and tells them to stop blocking the way, teasing them for looking like a couple. The scene shifts to light snowfall. Tsukasa and Sa-chan take in the winter view together. Tsukasa reflects on how fast the year has gone and remembers his own Christmases growing up. He tells her how his parents were never home during the holidays, and being the older sibling, he had to take on the role of Santa for his younger brother. Even though he knew Santa wasn't real, he wanted to keep the magic alive for his brother, so he even buy his own gifts. While he's lost in thought, he turns to see Sa-chan wearing Santa mustaches playfully. She declares herself his Santa now and hands him a gift, saying she'll make up for those lonely Christmases by being the one to give him a present. He accepts it and hands her one too, saying it's meant for her, even though they're both just pretending. Sa-chan laughs and plays along, saying she'll make sure the gift reaches the right girl. As they continue walking side by side, Tsukasa suggests a short detour before heading home. Sa-chan agrees, saying it fits the mood of the season. Back at home, they both exchange thanks again for the gifts. Sa-chan admits that even though people usually open presents right away, she wants to wait a little longer and keep hers as a decoration. Tsukasa agrees and says they should open them together after Christmas. The promise to meet again soon makes both of them feel warm, knowing this day won't be the end of something. They're just getting started. At present, after school, Tsukasa greets Sa-chan and casually asks if she's heading home. She tells him she has no shift today, so she's just planning to go straight home. Hearing that, he smiles and says it's perfect because he brought something special. An old ice cream they used to eat when they were kids. He saw it earlier and picked it up right away, thinking they could enjoy it together like old times. They sit down nearby and raise their little cups of ice cream as if making a toast, just like they used to. The familiar taste brings back old memories of their childhood, hanging out every day after school without a care in the world. Both of them get lost in those flashbacks for a moment, remembering the simpler days. As they sit together, they laugh and say they want to keep this little habit alive. They decide that even as adults, when they go out for drinks in the future, they'll make a toast with these small ice cream cups first. They even joke that when they become old, grandpa and grandma, they still want to do this. Shikasa wonders aloud whether he'll still be able to finish a whole Papico when he's old. Sa-chan laughs and says that's not the issue. She's more worried if they'll still be selling Papico that far into the future. Their laughter quiets down as both suddenly realize what they've been saying. Talking so casually about growing old together, that thought makes both of them shy and quiet for a moment. Shikasa gets caught up wondering if this sounds like some kind of proposal and worries what Sa-chan might be thinking, but quickly brushes it off, telling himself he's just overthinking. To avoid awkwardness, they both shift back into light conversation, focusing on enjoying their ice cream and chatting as if nothing happened. Though both hearts quietly beat with a warmth they can't express yet. Sayaka shows up at Shikasa's classroom, and the moment she arrives, Kiyomi spots her and quickly figures out she's there for Shikasa. Without missing a beat, he goes to call him out, saying that his girlfriend has come to pick him up. Shikasa gets flustered, immediately denying it and telling Kiyomi they're not dating. But Kiyomi doesn't buy it. From how they act around each other, he can't help but think they already look like a couple. He keeps wondering why Shikasa hasn't confessed yet and even thinks it's unfair to single people like him. As Kiyomi stands there lost in his thoughts, someone gives him a sudden shove from behind. It's Yuzu, who playfully tells him to stop blocking the way like a statue and calls him a big guy. That annoys Kiyomi, and he replies that she's actually taller than him. Yuzu throws the teasing right back, asking if he's jealous of her height. Her eyes then wander to Chikasa and Sa-chan standing together, and she casually refers to them as lovebirds. She brings up the fact that she and Kiyomi are also childhood friends, but they're nothing like those two. Yuzu shrugs it off, saying she isn't like the typical cute girls and love isn't really her thing anyway. But then Kiyomi says something unexpected. He tells her she's cute. That takes her completely off guard. For a moment, both freeze. Kiyomi tries to explain himself, saying he didn't mean it that way, but Yuzu grins and starts teasing him, leaning in and asking if he wants to date her. Their playful moment turns awkward as they both go silent, and Kiyomi quickly tells her not to joke like that. Yuzu laughs at his reaction, clearly enjoying how flustered he's getting. Kiyomi tries to defend himself again, saying they've known each other since they were kids, and it'd be weird to go out like that. Yuzu jokes back that he's like a little brother to her, but Kiyomi doesn't like that and insists he's not some little brother. Yuzu continues teasing, calling him her little bro just to get under his skin. Kiyomi finally gives up and walks away, and Yuzu stays behind, thinking about what he said earlier. As she recalls him calling her cute, she mumbles to herself that he really doesn't know what he's saying. She stands there, a little flustered herself now, and calls him an idiot for not realizing why he still isn't popular with girls. A group of girls surrounds Yuzuko with curiosity, asking about the milk box she always carries. They wonder if she's really that obsessed with milk. Yuzu shrugs off the question with a half answer, saying it's not about loving milk, it's just something that stuck with her since she was little. She remembers those early years clearly. Back then, boys used to tease her constantly about her height. Their words made her feel self-conscious, like she stood out in the worst way. But one day, everything shifts when Kiyomi steps in. He tells her that being tall isn't something to be embarrassed about. It's actually cool. That moment stays with her like a quiet magic spell. For the first time, she holds her head higher. Not long after, she notices an ad claiming milk is the secret to growing tall. From that day forward, she takes it seriously. Drinking milk becomes her ritual, her way of owning the thing she used to feel ashamed of. Deep down, she still likes it when someone calls her huge, because when Kiyomi said it, it sounded like a compliment. Elsewhere, Kiyomi stands by a vending machine, lost in his thoughts. He reflects on how Yuzu has always been there, never far from him. Just as he grabs a drink, she appears beside him and casually asks if he's taking a tea break, offering him a pack of biscuits without skipping a beat. Her eyes land on the milk carton in his hand, and she smirks, teasing him for drinking it like a child. He shoots back that she drinks milk all the time too. Yuzu grins and tells him her milk is different. It's more expensive and better in quality. She jokes that growing girls like her need more calcium anyway. But Kiyomi knows the truth. Yuzu has always been taller, even as a kid. It used to bother him. Being shorter made him feel less impressive, especially next to someone like her. He did his own research and learned that boys often grow taller during puberty, so he clung to that hope. He figured if he worked hard, maybe drank more milk, he'd catch up. And when he did, he'd finally have the courage to confess to her. Now he quietly wonders when that moment will come. As he watches her laugh and tease like always, she suddenly looks at him and asks if he's been mesmerized by her beauty. Kiyomi doesn't flinch. He keeps his expression unreadable and sips his milk, hiding everything he feels behind that calm exterior. Yuzu steps into the medicine store and greets Chikamori-san with her usual energy. She looks around the shop, impressed by how organized everything is, and casually compliments the quality of the medicines and the layout. Chikamori responds with polite formality, appreciating the praise. Wasting no time, Yuzu brings up the fireworks festival and asks if Chikamori has any plans for it. Yuzu wonders if she might be going with Tumi, and if Naka will be there. Her tone is light, but the mention of Tsukasa makes Sa-chan pause. Despite that, her thoughts spiral. She starts wondering if Yuzu plans to ask Tsukasa herself. The possibility unsettles her. Noticing her sudden silence, Yuzu checks if something is wrong. Chikamori brushes it off and says she hasn't made any plans yet. Still, the thought doesn't leave her alone. She keeps imagining the two of them, Yuzu and Tsukasa, going to the fireworks together, getting along effortlessly. The idea weighs on her. Pushing the doubt aside, she smiles and suggests they all go together instead. She says she'll invite Tsukasa and Nakahara-kun. Yuzu lights up at the idea, saying it sounds more fun that way and it'll be better for Kiyomi as well since he won't have to go alone. As Yuzu leaves, clearly excited, Sa-chan keeps the smile on her face, but inside she still feels uneasy. The real reason she arranged this group outing is that she can't bear the idea of Tsu-chan going with someone else. As Sa-chan steps back, her foot slips and she suddenly falls. After gently bandaging her ankle, they check if she's feeling alright. Sa-chan offers a small smile and apologizes for making them worry, but Tsukasa calmly reassures her that there's no need to apologize. She tells them they don't have to stay behind for her, that they should enjoy the festival while she waits here. But Tsukasa and Yuzu exchange glances and tell her not to think like that. They both make it clear they'd rather be here with her than wander off. Kiyomi, on the other hand, suggests they head to the fireworks. He tells Tsukasa to look after Sa-chan, but Yuzu stops him, saying it's heartless to just leave someone behind. Even so, Kiyomi quietly admits that he wants to see the fireworks with Yuzu. The sudden honesty catches her off guard, and without saying much, he gently pulls her away, leaving the two behind on their own. Soon after, Tsukasa returns carrying 2 cups of ice cream. He hands one to Sa-chan and lightly says it's on him, so she should just enjoy it. She takes it but suddenly looks down, tears gathering in her eyes. Worried, Tsukasa asks if her ankle is hurting again, but she shakes her head and speaks softly. She tells him that she doesn't want to give up on him. Even if it sounds selfish, she admits she knew Onodera-san wanted to spend time with him too, but deep down, she's relieved he chose to stay. Everything he does means more to her than he knows. She looks away, adding that even though she's just a childhood friend, that title doesn't explain how much she really feels. Leaning slightly against his shoulder, she murmurs an apology for not being honest sooner, for making things uncertain, and for letting him worry. Tsukasa listens quietly, then responds with gentle determination. He tells her that tonight, he wants to be clear, she means a lot to him, more than she probably realizes. Meanwhile, Nakahara and Yuzu stand together beneath the glowing sky, surrounded by bursts of color. She seems thrilled by the view, her eyes wide with wonder, while Kiyomi quietly watches her instead, caught off guard by how charming she looks in that moment. Somewhere in his thoughts, he starts to wonder when she began to appear so cute in his eyes. Breaking the silence, Yuzu starts to worry about Sa-chan, asking if she's doing alright. Kiyomi casually reassures her, saying Tsukasa is with her, so there's nothing to worry about. He also mentions that Sa-chan had looked a bit distracted earlier, perhaps because of them. The comment strikes a nerve with Yuzu. She feels irritated, thinking Kiyomi cares more about Sa-chan than her. Frustrated and unable to hold it in, she turns away and says she wants to go home, claiming she's tired. He doesn't understand the sudden change in her tone and asks what's wrong. She avoids the question, but when he reminds her about the fireworks, she snaps, telling him it doesn't matter, since he clearly didn't want to see them with her anyway. That catches Kiyomi off guard, but instead of backing away, he calmly responds that he actually does want to see the fireworks with her and only her. He then asks if she truly doesn't want to watch them together. Yuzu, trying to mask her flustered feelings, throws in a teasing remark, asking if he's in love with her, but Kiyomi doesn't laugh. He stays serious, moves a little closer, and tells her to listen carefully because he has something to say. Just as he gathers the courage to speak, a loud grumble comes from Yuzu's stomach. Embarrassed, she turns red and tries to cover it up, while Kiyomi simply smiles and suggests they grab something to eat first. He gently extends his hand toward her, mentioning how she always gets hungry easily. Annoyed by the comment, Yuzu sulks for a second, but her mood lightens when he adds that it's his treat and she can order whatever she wants. They head toward the food stall together. As they eat, Yuzu struggles to focus on her food. Her mind stays tangled in thoughts about what he was going to say before they got interrupted. The moment hangs in the air, incomplete, and it leaves her wondering if that confession is still waiting to be heard. On the other side of the festival, Shikasa finally gathers the courage to tell Sa-chan how he feels. With a hesitant voice, he admits that she means a lot to him, but instead of reacting right away, she sits calmly and asks him to say it again, claiming she didn't hear him properly. The question throws Shikasa off. Embarrassed and flustered, he loses his nerve and awkwardly gets up, pretending he's going to find something to eat instead. Just as he begins to walk away, she suddenly pulls him into a soft hug from behind. Her arms wrap around him gently, stopping him in his tracks. She looks up at him with tender, pleading eyes and quietly asks him to say it again, this time clearly. Moved by her sincerity, Shikasa turns to face her and without hesitating repeats his words. He tells her again that she truly means a lot to him. As he speaks, the night sky above them begins to glow with vibrant fireworks. Colors bloom and burst in the sky, reflecting in their eyes. Taking a deep breath, Shikasa leans in slightly and whispers in her ear. He tells her that he loves her. After he confesses, he pulls back just enough to watch her reaction, his heart pounding as he waits. Sa-chan remains still, her face unreadable. She looks up and calmly says she didn't quite catch that either. Shikasa stares at her, confused and a little nervous again. For a few long seconds, she keeps pretending not to understand what he just said. But then her expression softens and a smile slowly appears on her lips. Her gaze lowers, and she admits that she heard every word. She was just teasing him, unable to deal with her own shyness. With her face partially hidden behind the sleeve of her yukata, she quietly says she wants to hear it one more time, her voice barely above a whisper, almost trembling. The night the festival ends on a sweet note. Yuzu and Kiyomi return, arms full of snacks they picked up from the stalls. Yuzu offers some of the food to Chikamura-chan, but she gently says she'll eat it later. Yuzu keeps nudging her to try it, but Kiyomi calmly tells her to stop insisting and not to get in their way, especially when Shikasa is carrying her on his back. Yuzu thanks Shikamori-san for inviting her and says she genuinely had a good time with everyone. Sa-chan returns the smile and thanks her for being a part of it. Once again, Kiyomi quietly pulls Yuzu away to give the other two some space. Shikasa then softly says how much he enjoyed the day and adds that they should definitely do something like this again, but just the two of them next time. Sa-chan nods in agreement with a quiet smile. As they continue walking, she starts to say something, but hesitates. Shikasa turns his head slightly to look at her, only for Sa-chan to suddenly lean in and kiss him on the cheek. The moment catches him completely off guard. He freezes, red-faced and speechless, mentally scolding himself for turning toward her right at that second. But despite his flustered reaction, both of them are smiling and the night closes with a quiet wish to return to that same festival again next year. The next day at the medicine store, things appear to return to normal. Shikasa complains about being sleepy while Sa-chan reminds him that he ate both an onigiri and a sweet bun for lunch. She tells him to stop yawning and focus on work instead. On the surface, everything feels like the usual daily routine, but Shikasa finds himself thinking. So much had happened the day before, he wonders if anything between them has really changed or if they've just gone back to where they were. In the middle of their banter, a dragonfly flies in through the open window. Shikasa gets distracted and tries to catch it, laughing a little, but instead of landing somewhere random, it settles peacefully on Sa-chan's hand. He quietly mutters that it seems the dragonfly likes her too. Sa-chan, a little puzzled, asks what he meant by too. Realizing what he almost admitted, he gets flustered and quickly changes the subject, saying that dragonflies means summer is ending and he'll miss wearing short sleeves. While he's trying to laugh it off, something clicks in his mind. Maybe things haven't changed dramatically, but they shifted just a little. The space between them feels different now. As he's thinking that, Sa-chan softly remarks that he's changed lately. She mentions how he used to constantly whine about wanting a girlfriend, but now hasn't said that once. It makes Tsukasa stop for a second. He realizes that all along, those complaints may have just been his way of expressing his wish to be with her. He tries to brush it off and tells her to stop teasing him. But then he turns it around and tells her she's changed too. She's been smiling a lot more recently. Sa-chan responds with a warm look and quietly says it's because of him. Still flustered, he promises to do whatever he can to keep her smiling from now on. Just then, a customer walks in asking about toothbrushes, and Tsukasa quickly jumps up to help, pointing them to the right aisle. Life resumes around them, quietly and comfortably. Even though their everyday banter continues, there's a soft shift in the air between them. Something has changed, but some things have stayed the same. Together, they decide to hold on to both, the steady rhythm of daily life and the small, delicate progress of something more. As the new year begins, Tsukasa is completely mesmerized when he sees Sa-chan in her kimono. She looks so adorable that he can't take his eyes off her. Even when they stand in front of the shrine to pray, his focus is still on her instead of the prayer. After they finish, he asks what he wished for. Caught off guard, Tsukasa casually says he wishes for the same thing she did. Her reaction, a soft blush, makes him wonder what she could have wished for. Feeling guilty, he admits the truth. He didn't make any wish at all because he was too busy admiring her. That confession makes both of them blush even harder. Later, they sit together, warming up with tangerines. Sa-chan smiles and says she really enjoys quiet winter moments like these. She peels a tangerine and offers it to Tsukasa. He opens his mouth without thinking, and she feeds him. The gesture catches him by surprise. Still flustered, he comments that food tastes nicer when someone else peels it. Wanting to return the favor, he peels a piece and offers it to Sa-chan. She accepts it, realizing he was right. It really does feel different when shared like this. Slowly, the two of them begin peeling and feeding each other, enjoying the peacefulness of the moment. She softly thanks Tsukasa for being by her side this past year, hoping they can stay like this for the next one too. Smiling, he peels another tangerine slice and offers it to her, saying this one is for the year ahead. But as she leans in, his fingers accidentally brush against her lips. Startled, he apologizes quickly and asks if she's hurt. She shakes her head, assuring him it's nothing. But despite the small accident, they both sit there red-faced once again, blushing for the third time that day. Trying to lighten the mood, Tsukasa grabs a tangerine and draws a cute face on it, calling it Sa-chan. Laughing, she does the same and draws one for Tsukasa. The tiny faces make them smile, and instead of eating them, they place the tangerines side by side, deciding to keep them like that, because together they look too cute to be eaten. During a break at school, Yuzu snacks on something when Kiyomi walks over and curiously asks what she's eating. She tells him they're the trendy gummies that have gone viral online. They sell out almost instantly. Interested, Kiyomi asks if he can try one, but instead of handing it over, Yuzu smirks and says he can only get one if he repeats Yuzu is the prettiest girl here 100 times. Kiyomi turns away, clearly unwilling to go along with her teasing, but she keeps nudging him, calling him shy and saying he has no guts. Not wanting to back down, Kiyomi finally gives in and starts repeating the line. Embarrassment creeps over his face as he says it out loud again and again. At first, Yuzu laughs, clearly enjoying watching him squirm, but after a while, as he keeps going without stopping, the mood shifts. She turns red, gets flustered, and awkwardly tells him to stop. She says the deal's off now and that he's not getting any gummies. He should go buy some himself instead. Later, on Valentine's Day, Yuzu arrives early to school, holding a chocolate gift box in her hands. She says to herself that Naka probably won't receive any chocolates again this year, so she's doing a good deed by giving him some. She even woke up early just to grab the limited edition chocolates before they sold out, excited to surprise him. To her surprise, Kiyomi is already at school too. She stops him and jokingly asks if he knows what day it is. He casually replies that it's his classroom duty day. Yuzu figures that's why he woke up early, and she starts teasing him, saying he's pretending not to care about Valentine's Day just because he knows no one will give him chocolates. But Kiyomi quickly shuts that down. He says he already received some. Yuzu blinks in surprise and demands to know who gave them to him. Kiyomi calmly says his mother gave him a chocolate bar. She lets out a sigh of relief and tells him not to act smug over something like that. Then, without looking him in the eye, she pushes her own chocolate gift into his face and says she figured he wouldn't get anything, so she brought him some out of obligation. Kiyomi's cheeks turn red, and he looks completely thrown off by her gesture. From a distance, Sa-chan and Tsukasa watch them with quiet smiles. Kiyomi then hands Yuzu a box of chocolates as well. He bought hers from a pricey shop. Yuzu raises an eyebrow and jokes that it sounds romantic, but quickly adds that she's kidding. Still, she thanks him warmly. Meanwhile, Sa-chan gives her Valentine's gift to Tsukasa with a soft smile, and he returns the gesture with chocolates of his own. Unlike Yuzu and Kiyomi's playful exchange, their moment carries a softer, romantic touch, genuine and quiet, just like them. The drugstore manager, Chikamori Fumihiko, gives Tsukasa and Sa-chan instructions for the tasks they need to handle today. He also reminds them to dress warmly, as the weather is getting colder. Chikamori has a kind and warm personality, and he's also Tsukasa's uncle. So when he looks at Tsukasa, he gets emotional, reflecting on how quickly he's grown up, especially since he has been taking care of Tsukasa since he was little. He feels the same way about Sa-chan, who has also grown up before his eyes, as both of them have been working with him for quite some time now. Tsukasa, with a playful grin, teases him by saying they're not the ones growing up, it's just that uncle is getting older. Sa-chan, on the other hand, thanks him sincerely for always being so kind and caring toward them. He comments that she is such a sweet girl, and then tells Tsukasa to walk her home, since the nights are getting longer. The two of them get a bit awkward, but Tsukasa agrees. Seeing this, Uncle jokingly warns him not to turn into Don Juan and take advantage of the situation. Tsukasa gets flustered and tells his uncle to stop, saying he's making things weird by saying stuff like that. Sa-chan, confused, asks who Don Juan is. Uncle is stunned that she doesn't know, but one of the pharmacists leans in and whispers the meaning to her. Sa-chan turns red with embarrassment once she understands. Uncle feels bad, realizing he might have corrupted her a little by mentioning it. Tsukasa quickly reassures her, saying he'd never do anything like that, but Sa-chan replies that he didn't need to say, at all. She wouldn't mind if he did something like that. Both Uncle and Tsukasa are left speechless. Then Sa-chan realizes what she just said and gets awkward, while Uncle starts getting emotional again, marveling at how much they've grown up. After work, while walking Sa-chan home, Tsukasa tries to break the silence by mentioning how the nights have been getting cold lately. She doesn't respond, and he starts wondering if maybe she's expecting some kind of Don Juan moment. She glances at him but then shyly turns away, and they continue walking in awkward silence. Eventually, Tsukasa gathers the courage to ask if she wants to hold hands. Sa-chan gives him a cold look at first, but then agrees, and they gently hold hands. Their hearts pound heavily, both feeling embarrassed since it's their first time. She thanks him and boldly declares that she'll be the one to initiate something like Don Juan tomorrow. He lights up at the thought, even just imagining that they'll get to hold hands again tomorrow, and says he's looking forward to it. Meanwhile, the others at the drugstore feel genuinely happy for the two of them. Tsukasa calls out to Sa-chan from a distance and catches up to her with a quick stride. He mentions that it's been a while since they last met. She agrees, adding that they've been missing each other. A brief silence follows, slightly awkward and tinged with embarrassment. Sa-chan grows flustered, unable to meet Tsukasa's eyes. She tries to glance at him, worried he might think something's wrong if she doesn't. Her eyes meet his for a moment before she quickly looks away, cheeks warm. Tsukasa feels the same. After so long, even looking at each other feels unfamiliar. Both grow flustered from the brief eye contact. He thinks she's still just as cute, while she finds him still cool, maybe even a little taller than before. Neither wants to miss the chance to look at the other, so they turn around simultaneously. As their eyes meet again, their minds go blank. The awkwardness lingers. Sa-chan quietly admits she's missed him a lot and feels happy to see him today. From behind, Nakahara watches and comments on their behavior, asking why they're acting like it's been a year apart when it's only been 2 days due to club activities. Both Tsukasa and Sa-chan feel embarrassed and ask how long he's been watching. He reveals he's been there from the beginning. At work, both are caught up in the rush. Month end always brings a flood of tasks, and today is no exception. They move quickly, focused on finishing everything in time. In the middle of the rush, their hands suddenly meet while reaching for the same product. Instinctively, both pull back and apologize, voices low, faces tinged with shyness. Tsukasa, still feeling the brief contact, thinks about how soft her hand was. It reminds him they haven't shared any Don Juan moments since that walk, and the thought of doing it again lingers in his mind. He wants to, but worries it might come off as strange. Sa-chan, meanwhile, feels the same. She misses the warmth of his hand and wishes to feel it again. Quietly, both reach out, trying to recreate that moment, but she moves a little too fast, and they miss. They try again, hands hovering close, so close, but still don't quite make it. After a few silent attempts, Tsukasa finally catches her hand and holds it tightly. A quiet joy passes between them. They've succeeded, but the realization quickly sets in, and both grow flustered. Without a word, they let go, the moment slipping away as embarrassment takes its place. Tsukasa and Sachan chat casually while working, and nearby, their pharmacists, Uma-san, with long hair, and Fuka-san, with short hair, secretly watch them from behind the shelves. Both enjoy the sight of the two acting lovey-dovey and begin imagining their wedding, whispering about catalogs, rings, and decorations. Their daydreaming is interrupted when the manager walks over and tells them to leave the couple alone. He reminds them that Tsukasa and Sachan are still in high school, and not everything needs to happen so quickly, but Uma and Fuka-san insist that progress moves fast nowadays, and before he knows it, they'll be adults. The manager grows emotional, eyes welling up as he starts crying again. The girls tease him, asking if he has any love life of his own. He smiles and replies with a chuckle, wondering what they expect from an old man. As they talk, another co-worker joins the group, Moka-chan. She asks what the conversation is about and guesses it's about the manager being old. Hearing that from a younger colleague makes him tear up again, but Moka-chan quickly adds that being older isn't a bad thing. She says he's a proper man, cool, and even admits he's her type, leaving everyone stunned. The manager freezes for a moment, then returns to his usual self, thanking Moka-chan for the courage and vote of confidence. He also tells the others to stop calling him old. However, she doesn't seem pleased with his reaction. She quietly sulks and heads off to restock the shelves. Concerned, the manager offers to help, but she refuses. Left confused, he turns to the girls, asking if Moka-chan really seems upset. They nod and tell him plainly, it's his fault. Moka-chan enters the room quietly, holding an email in her hand. She hands it to the manager, who glances at it and immediately realizes he has been overworking again. Her expression, tinged with concern, does not go unnoticed. He asks gently if it is troubling her that much, and she nods, her eyes downcast. Without a word, she reaches into her bag and brings out a homemade treat. The manager thanks her, but she brushes it off with a soft smile, saying she simply enjoys cooking. She lingers beside him, remarking that food always tastes better in someone's company and encourages him to try it. As always, he suggests they share it with everyone else. Her mood shifts instantly. An intense aura flares around her as she declares she will handle it herself. Alarmed, the manager quickly takes a bite. To his surprise, she has prepared inari sushi. He compliments the choice, admitting he has a fondness for that kind of food. She beams, saying she already knows. Watching him eat so happily, she remarks that they taste even better than she expected. His enjoyment lifts her spirits, and she promises to make them again someday. But the moment is short-lived. The manager glances at the clock and reminds her it is getting late. She should head home before it gets dark. As a token of appreciation, he offers her some free samples to take with her. She declines sharply, muttering that she is dieting, and leaves abruptly, leaving him stunned and slightly shaken. The next morning, she approaches him again, this time to request an early leave. He remembers and asks if she plans to take the whole week off. She confirms. It is exam season. Wishing her luck, he watches as she goes to change out of her uniform. From outside, he can hear her humming softly, and a strange feeling creeps over him, as though he is intruding on something private. He makes a mental note. They need a better changing room. She emerges moments later, offers a cheerful goodbye, and walks out. As the door closes behind her, the manager stands still, reflecting. She carries herself with such poise, yet at the end of the day, she is still just a student. Maikawa-san approaches Sachan-senpai with a work-related concern she can't quite grasp. Sachan takes the time to explain it clearly, and Moka-chan thanks her with quiet appreciation. Watching her, Sachan feels a sense of admiration. Moka-chan's dedication is something she herself aspires to. Just as Sachan thinks the conversation is over, Moka-chan mentions she has another question. Sachan welcomes it without hesitation, but the topic shifts unexpectedly. Maikawa asks how long Sachan and Tsuchan have been together. The question catches her off guard, and her reaction makes it clear she hasn't expected it. Moka-chan, noticing the hesitation, assumes they aren't dating and asks why. She explains she had thought they were already a couple. Her tone turns sharp as she expresses frustration that Tsuchan hasn't made a move yet. Determined, she announces she will go ask him directly, but Sachan quickly stops her. She explains that she and Tsuchan are childhood friends, and things aren't so simple. Moka-chan presses further, asking if Sachan doesn't want to date him. Without thinking, she admits she does. The words come out louder than intended, and the realization settles in. This is the first time she has said it aloud. Moka-chan smiles, having drawn the truth from her, and offers her support. She says she likes Sachan and wants to see her happy. Sachan thanks her, though her thoughts linger on the moment. Then Mikawa casually mentions that she understands the feeling, as she likes the manager, but he never seems to notice. The confession leaves Sachan in stunned silence. The girls stand together, still caught in the quiet aftermath of their earlier exchange. From behind, Tsuchan and the manager approach, curious about the hushed conversation. Before either can speak, Moka-chan turns sharply toward the manager, her glare enough to silence him instantly. He steps back without a word, while Sachan remains deep in thought, replaying what she's just heard. Moka-chan moves through emotions with ease, unafraid to voice what stirs inside her. Sachan, by comparison, often finds herself tangled in hesitation. Watching her, Sachan wonders if such boldness is something she can learn. Suddenly, the pharmacists arrive with a burst of energy, waving a banner and announcing the upcoming karaoke contest. It's part of the annual store get-together, a chance for everyone to sing their hearts out. Moka-chan leans in with a mischievous grin, calling it the perfect moment to show the brickheads exactly what they're missing. She speaks of angelic voices and dimly lit karaoke rooms, where closeness can spark and hearts might race. Sachan hesitates, admitting she isn't confident in her singing, but Moka-chan brushes it off, promising to teach her everything she needs. There's no pressure, only the chance to enjoy the moment. Sachan nods, quietly grateful. As they talk, the manager joins in, wishing them luck and hoping they'll have fun. The pharmacists catch his tone and question why he sounds like he won't be attending. Moka-chan listens closely. The manager mentions inventory duties, but the pharmacists insist, no excuses this time. Faced with their determination, he agrees to come. Seeing this, Sachan also wants to confirm whether Tsuchan is coming or not, so she stops him by gently tugging his shirt from behind. He turns, confused, unable to understand why she's doing this. Sachan then asks if he's going to make it to the karaoke event, and before he can respond, she adds that she would like him to be there. Flustered, with his face turning red, he quickly says he'll be there. Sachan seems relieved. Meanwhile, he keeps thinking how this is the first time she's ever invited him to anything. The thought fills him with joy, and he can't stop smiling. As they talk, the whole staff watches quietly from behind. Moka-chan mutters how it's even possible they aren't dating yet. One of the pharmacists commented that it used to be even worse before, so at least things are better now. Karaoke day arrives, and Maekawa-san steps in wearing a jacket over shorts, looking effortlessly stylish. Sachan greets her warmly, but she gently insists she drop the honorific and just call her Moka. Sayaka smiles and compliments her appearance, saying she looks very stylish today. Moka returns the praise, saying Sachan looks good in her outfit too. As they chat, Tsukasa joins them, relieved that he isn't late. After greeting them both, his eyes settle on Sachan. His face turns red, and with a shy expression, he tells her she looks cute in her outfit. Moka quietly steps away, leaving the two alone, thinking how nice it is that Tsuchan praised Sachan. She feels hopeful, believing their goal might finally come true today. The manager arrives shortly after and greets them. Moka glances at him, convinced there's no way he'll say anything flattering. But to her surprise, he remarks that she looks different today, and very cute too. The unexpected compliment moves her deeply. Moments later, the manager begins his usual whining, lamenting how quickly everyone is growing up and how they're now old enough to wear stylish clothes. Moka responds playfully, saying they're not like him, who wears the same clothes every day. Still, her thoughts spiral. She wonders if the manager didn't mean the compliment personally, but rather included everyone out of politeness. The uncertainty gnaws at her, and she drops to her knees, trying to convince her heart that he didn't mean it just for her. The manager notices and asks if she's feeling all right. Moka brushes it off, saying she's fine and not to worry. Just then, the pharmacists arrive on the scene, asking if they've missed anything good. The pharmacist begins singing, and everyone enjoys it because the voice sounds pleasant. After they wrap up, Tsukasa takes his turn. He sings well too, and Sachan feels impressed by how soft and pretty his voice is. Others also mention that he's a good singer. When he finishes, she praises him and mentions he looks like an idol, which makes him blush. She wonders if he goes to karaoke often, and he shares that he usually goes with his club friends. Now it's Sachan's turn, but she doesn't seem very confident. Tsukasa gently tells her that it's okay not to sing if she doesn't feel like it, but she decides to give it a try. She thinks she's not a great singer, but wants to enjoy the moment like everyone else. It's just a song, and they sing it often in music class, so she gathers courage and starts singing. She struggles a bit, so Tsukasa offers to sing a duet with her. She gets flustered and thanks him for being thoughtful, but he explains that he simply wants to sing with her since it's their first karaoke outing together, becoming shy while speaking. Others watching them find it sweet and begin teasing him. The pharmacist invites Sachan to join their team. The manager mentions he can sing with them too, and Moka offers to sing with Sachan as well. But Tsukasa gets a little possessive and says she'll sing only with him if she's okay with it. She smiles and agrees to sing. They begin their duet. The pharmacist comments that singing with someone you like feels special and calls it youthful love. Sachan has always enjoyed singing since childhood. Back in primary school, during music class, her teacher asks her to open her mouth a bit more while singing. She tries, but opens it a little too wide, and some classmates start laughing at her for taking the class too seriously. They find it funny and weird, which makes her feel upset. While leaving the room, she runs into Tsukasa in the hallway. He tells her that her voice reached their classroom and he could hear it clearly. He says he loved it, as if it touched his soul. Hearing this, she becomes very embarrassed and hides her face in her hoodie. Even though she feels shy, she doesn't mind Tsukasa hearing her voice. Still, even now, she feels she can't sing well. Later at karaoke, Tsukasa returns with soft serve ice cream and tells her it's been a long time since he heard her sing. He says he still loves it, and it reaches deep inside him. She hides her face again, and Tsukasa gently asks why she's hiding. While covering her face, her thoughts drift to the moment she confessed wanting to date him and how much she likes him. She hopes that, just like her singing, these feelings might reach his heart too. Tsukasa stands waiting with melting ice cream in his hands. Sachan finally stops hiding and faces him. He looks confused, unsure of what she's trying to do. She gathers her emotions and begins to speak, and Tsukasa's heart starts pounding as she steps closer. Just as she's about to say something, the door swings open and Moka-chan rushes in, cutting their moment short. 15 minutes earlier, Moka-chan begins singing with full confidence, believing her performance will make the manager fall for her. But when she looks around for him, he's nowhere to be seen. The pharmacist informs her that the manager stepped out after receiving a call. Feeling annoyed, she continues singing with frustration. After finishing, she steps outside and spots the manager talking on the phone with someone. She sulks quietly, thinking about how he's always kind and never puts himself first, always caring more about others than his own feelings. As she is standing there, a drunk man comes through the door and bumps into her as he trips. She becomes scared and urges him to move already. The man apologizes, but she still reacts angrily, and the man grows frustrated, repeating that he already apologized. She pushes back, not wanting him near her and expressing that he's making her uncomfortable. The man gets angry and smashes the wall with force. At that moment, the manager arrives and steps in, offering an apology for Moka-chan's behavior and taking responsibility for his staff. The man starts wondering if the manager owns the karaoke place, but the manager explains that he doesn't and that he runs a drugstore business. He offers another apology, assuring the man that this won't happen again and encourages him to let it go. The manager bows respectfully and hands over his business card, inviting the man to visit his store. Moka-chan expresses her gratitude for the manager's help, and he checks if she's okay or if the situation frightened her. Chikamori explains that dealing with angry customers is part of his daily routine, and even though he dislikes conflict, he feels like he looked foolish. Moka-chan disagrees, and the manager appreciates her support. He shares that hearing kind words from someone like her means a lot, and that he feels responsible for everyone, like a parent caring for his children. She starts wondering why he always acts this way. She begins sulking and urges the manager to stop talking as she grows flustered. She blurts out that he always looks cool and didn't do anything wrong, and that he actually made her heart skip a beat. She tries to say more but stops midway, looks at the manager quietly, and walks away without another word. Sachan and Tsukasa watch Moka-chan leave and sense something is off. Sachan decides to go after her, while Tsukasa stays behind, hoping things turn out well. He also starts wondering when Sachan and Moka-chan became so close. As he walks inside, he spots his uncle sitting alone. He looks messy and sounds worn out, which makes Tsukasa feel uneasy. He checks what's wrong, and they sit down to chat. Meanwhile, Sachan approaches Moka. Moka-chan notices her and thinks to herself that the manager didn't even try to come after her. She tries to act like everything is fine and asks Sachan if it's already time to leave so she can head out, or if there's still time left, she might sing again. But Sachan sees through her and gently brings up that something seems to be bothering her. When she holds Moka-chan's hand, it feels cold, confirming that something is wrong. Moka opens up and shares everything. She vents her frustration, saying the manager never takes her seriously and always treats her like a kid, expecting her to just move on. But she insists she's not a kid. She loves him deeply, and his behavior keeps pushing her to the edge. Sachan understands her situation and expresses that she knows Moka-chan is serious and always thoughtful toward others. She believes Moka-chan's feelings for the manager are genuine and admires her determination to chase love. She calls her a wonderful person and says she respects her. Moka feels touched hearing all this and thanks Sachan. She suggests they should mess with the manager a little for ignoring such precious feelings. She proposes finding his middle school yearbook and leaving it in the dressing room accidentally. Moka-chan imagines how that might play out and finds it amusing. Sachan shares that the manager wrote in it that he wants to become a mage when he grows up and says it's totally worth seeing. Moka bursts into laughter, finding it fun, and her mood lifts. She tells Sachan how much she loves her and teasingly suggests she should go for her instead of the manager. But Sachan responds that she already has someone and that someone is Tsukasa. The conversation shifts to him, and Moka-chan curiously asks if there's any progress in their relationship. Sachan blushes, her face turns red, and she quietly walks away, feeling shy. Pharmacist leaves the karaoke as they have other chores to do. Meanwhile, Tsukasa sits beside the manager, who still seems stuck in a gloomy mood. Tsukasa mentions to the pharmacist that nothing serious happened, and they were just having a conversation. Pharmacist turns to the manager, reminds him that he's an adult now, wishes him good luck, and walks out. Now the manager and Tsukasa continue their talk. Tsukasa points out that the manager is at fault and can't keep ignoring things like this forever. The manager explains that he runs the store and carries a lot of responsibilities. He needs to make sure all his staff feel safe and can't afford to be distracted by his own romantic life. Tsukasa responds that he sounds too old-fashioned and that this isn't really the issue. He calls it low self-esteem, and the manager breaks down again, crying. The manager admits he believes Moka-chan isn't serious and is just teasing an older guy and that she'll get bored soon. He doesn't want to get involved because it might hurt him. Tsukasa checks if that's the only reason, and the manager agrees, adding that she's just a student. Tsukasa reminds him that students grow up and shares that he also likes Sachan. The manager looks shocked. Tsukasa continues, expressing that he truly loves her and wants to be with her for the rest of his life. The manager listens and accepts it, giving his support. Tsukasa asks if he thinks he's lying, and the manager responds that he doesn't. Tsukasa points out that he's also a student, just like Moka-chan, and asks if the manager thinks he isn't serious. The manager replies that he doesn't think that. Tsukasa explains that it's the same with Moka-chan. She's serious about him too. The manager starts reflecting on all the times Maekawa has shown genuine concern and care for him. He realizes he hasn't been fair to her and decides he needs to apologize and listen to everything she has to say. Tsukasa feels proud for helping him reach this point and jokes about being a bit cocky. The manager starts thinking about how he's always seen them as kids, but Tsukasa has truly grown up, and not just him, Sachan too. Then the manager recalls what Tsukasa said earlier about dating and gets curious. Tsukasa becomes shy and runs off, saying he's going to find Sachan and Moka-chan. The day winds down, and everyone leaves the karaoke. The manager offers to walk Moka-chan home, and they both wave goodbye to Sachan and Tsukasa. He quietly shares with Sachan that the manager will talk things through. On the way, he brings up an apology to Moka-chan for not being fair to her. Moka-chan responds that she should be the one to apologize, but the manager gently admits that he wasn't the best listener, and if she has forgiven him, she can share whatever's on her mind from now on. Moka-chan starts thinking about what he means by anything. She worries that if she tells him her feelings, he might ignore them again. Still, she decides to speak up. When she looks at him, she notices something different. He's truly paying attention, showing concern in a way he never did before. With a brief pause, she gathers her courage and calls him by his name, expressing that she really likes him. Her eyes begin to tear up as she asks if there's any chance for her, sharing how she's imagined dating him and spending weekends together. Deep down, she fears he'll reject her. He gives a soft smile and expresses happiness that she feels this way, but gently explains that he can't return her feelings the same way. He sees her as an important employee, nothing more, nothing less. He adds that the pharmacy is finally taking off and he doesn't have time for personal matters. Moka-chan listens and seems to understand. She acknowledges that she knows he's busy and always knew this deep down, but she just wanted him to know how much it meant. He thanks her, calling her by name. She lights up, realizing it's the first time he's ever done that. But even as she tries to smile, tears begin to fall. She starts crying, and he quickly apologizes, saying he never meant to make her cry. They sit down together, and Shikamori goes to bring Moka-chan her favorite diet soda. She thinks to herself that he really does care, and wonders if he's even aware of it. Her thoughts drift back to what he said earlier, and it frustrates her. Calling her just an employee and saying he's too busy to date feels like a weak excuse. But then she considers that if he's only busy now, maybe he could date her later. She tries to confirm this by asking the manager if she's right. She still holds hope for their future and asks how long he'll take. She says she can wait 10 years, and by then she won't be a student anymore. Chikamori stays silent, so she keeps adding more years, suggesting 12. They'd be middle-aged by then. He responds that he won't be running a pharmacy at that point and thinks she's being unrealistic. But Moka insists she's being realistic and that the age gap wouldn't be a problem. She says it's not a long time and will pass quickly. Then she asks if he simply doesn't like her, wanting to know so she doesn't hold on to false hope. The manager stays quiet and she grows upset, asking if he doesn't find her cute at all. Finally, the manager speaks up and softly admits that he thinks she's cute and has complimented her before. These words leave her silent and shy. She starts wondering if he truly means them. Her face turns red and she tells the manager they should head out. She declares she's not losing hope and won't give up on him. When he asks why, she teasingly acts cute and says it's because she loves him and knows he doesn't dislike her. He tries to disagree, but she brushes it off, saying she doesn't care about anything else, only that he likes her. She adds that she's not resigning from her job anytime soon, and 10 or 20 years mean nothing to her. Chikamori grows awkward and nervous, realizing he can't reason with her anymore. It feels like she's taking control of the situation. Moka-chan gets closer, more intense, saying she'll wait for him to be ready. She pokes him in the chest and declares that she knows how to win, so he had better prepare himself for their love. She leans in, and the manager closes his eyes, unsure if she's about to kiss him. He's overwhelmed with mixed feelings, thinking things have gotten even more complicated, but she feels happy, looking forward to their future, and tells the manager once again that she loves him. The manager awkwardly says he needs to find a trash can, completely unsure of what to do next. On the other side, the pharmacist chats about Moka-chan and the manager, saying she will get her victory. They laugh about how the manager acts differently around her, even if he tries to hide it. They agree that the old man can never win against her love.
Here I am, know it's been a while.